everyone, and welcome to another broadcast of Monica at Home. I am Alexandra Mayers, better known as Monica Foster of MonicaF.com, GettingIntoPorn.com, and of course, the website that I made specifically for this broadcast, www.monicaathome.com. Now, this particular broadcast is going to focus on a few things that have come to light in regards to the Pornwikileaks fiasco, which is something that has not only rocked the foundation of my personal and professional life, but the foundation of the porn industry itself and countless adult industry professionals who work within it. It's been amazing. Now, the best way that I can present this material to you is as a story. It's a factual story, at least it's factual as far as the articles and the research that I've been able to compile over the past few days. But it's a story of heartbreak, betrayal, jealousy, a lust for power, deep-seated hate, repression. It's pretty bad. And you know, on websites like MikeSouth.com and the website that Mercedes Ashley and a young man named Sean put together called TheRealPornWikiLeaks.com, you know, they've put together a pretty good listing that they've been able to compile over the past month or so of people that they've been able to definitely find have been involved. But being that certain people have been brought to light who have been involved in the project, it's opened my eyes to some people who have not been named yet, but who are associated with some of the individuals who have been involved and named as being involved in the project. And I think it's time for us to look at these people, one in particular, and get to know them. You know, that Pornwikileaks project has enabled the industry and the public to get to know quite a few people beyond their comfort level. So maybe it's time for me to present some material to all of you out there so that you can get to know some people that I've noticed that might have escaped the magnifying glass, at least as of current. Now, before I begin, I do want to affirm that all of this material that I'm presenting to you on this broadcast is based on my personal thought, opinion, independent research, and all the sources and links that I'll present to you on this broadcast, of course, will be available on www.monicaathome.com. Now, thanks to some anonymous sources that have contacted Mike South of MikeSouth.com, we know as of current that Donny Long, aka Donald Carlos Sion, is the primary driving force behind the Pornwikileaks project. However, it has come to light that there have been some other people with financial interests behind the site, such as Malcom, also known as AdultDVD.com. There are countless links throughout the site that link to that company and that website. At one point in time, Dirty D, I cannot think of some of his websites right now, but I do have it linked up on MonicaAtHome.com. He was someone else that I'm under the belief that Donald was probably receiving some fundage with via the links to Dirty D's sites coming from the Pornwikileaks project. However, there have been some other people who have been revealed as being involved with Pornwikileaks who it's not clear as to what they had to gain from their involvement, but let's go ahead and talk about them a little bit. One of those people is a woman by the name of Tara Akinloos, who runs a industry gossip blog. I won't say a news blog because many of the things on the blog are opinions and not accurate to the facts. The name of the blog is Free Porn Star Pics, and she's on Twitter as Free Porn Star Pics as well. That's one of the people who's been connected to this. But another person who touts himself as an adult industry legal expert. He's an attorney. His name is Michael Fattorosi. It's come to light via the anonymous sources that have contacted Mike South that he has advised for quite some time Donald Carlos Sion as to the structuring of the Pornwikileaks project, along with how the wikis are written about various adult industry professionals. Now, it's been very confusing to me exactly as to why Fattorosi would assist Donny Long in this venture. Primarily because Fattorosi is dating a woman by the name of Vanessa Blue, aka Tanya Faulkner. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Vanessa Blue is black. And for those of you who have become familiarized with the Pornwikileaks project, it is extremely racist toward people of ethnic descent, namely African Americans or blacks. And it's also very homophobic. So it's been very confusing to a lot of people exactly why Michael Fattorosi would have assisted Donny Long in this project. Now, of course, he's denied this, and he said, oh, you know, he was just an ex-client of mine, and, you know, we were friends, and that's all that there is to it. And that's the same thing that Donny Long has said, but there is more to it. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I think it's about time that we take a good look at Tanya. We're going to have to go back in time to do this. So let's go ahead. Of course, you can research Tanya Faulkner, aka Vanessa Blue, on Wikipedia. She's listed on there, and I'm talking about the regular Wikipedia. However, that's such a light bio of hers, and being that she doesn't have a wiki on the PWL project like just about everyone else does, let's go ahead and give you all a little bit of background on her. Now, from what I could find online in regards to Vanessa Blue, aka Tanya Faulkner, she was the only child until she was about 15 years old. She's a Gemini. She was born in Long Beach, California, and has also lived in Beaumont, Texas, and is reportedly a Houston native. At least that's something that I read on one bio of hers. According to an article on Adult FYI by Jean Ross, Vanessa stated, "I was weird. My mom didn't want me to get dirty, so she had me watch the other kids play outside, so I don't interact well with groups of people. That's why you don't see me at the parties," meaning the adult industry events. "I can't stand being in a crowd." So Miss Blue's antisocial. In any event, Blue wound up losing her virginity to a 23-year-old phlebotomist when she was 15. She says, "He was a cool guy, but a sneaky one," recalls Blue. "He said whatever he needed to say and took my virginity. But he didn't have to say much. I was a young girl, but I didn't think he had to talk me into it." Now, it was Vanessa's grandparents that introduced Vanessa Blue to porn. That's pretty unusual. According to that article, they had a large porn collection, the largest that she'd ever seen, but that wasn't all that they introduced Blue to. Apparently, her grandfather introduced Blue to technology as well. She says in that same article, "My grandfather always had computers. Growing up, I always had a new computer as long as I could remember. My grandfather always gave me one or built one for me, so I've always had access or exposure to that. I'm probably more comfortable with a computer than I am with a human. That's interesting to me. That's interesting because, and I'll get into this later, quite a few of the women who have been targeted by the Pornwikileaks project not only have been beautiful adult industry talents, they've also been like Vanessa Blue, computer geeks. Now, it was 1996 that Vanessa began her porn career. It was actually an ex-porn star named Kitten who introduced her to the industry. She says in the same article, "Once I met Kitten, she talked me into doing porn." Now, even though she started in 1996, she stopped for a few years. She says that she says in the article, "I said this wasn't for me. I don't like what I see. Then I quit. And that's the way it is, or that's the way it has been since I've been doing adult. I'd work for a little while, then I'd disappear for a few years." Now, let's see. Blue's first time in front of the camera was for a movie titled Black Snatch, and her second movie was Dirty Debutantes number 61 by Ed Powers. Now, at age 22, Vanessa relocated from California to Nebraska, which is a place where she had some family. And she relocated with a guy that she'd met in a nudie club, and it was a white guy named James. Her family apparently was not in agreement of this, and she basically said to them, and again, this is in the article, she said, "Okay, fuck you guys." So she went away from her family, did what she wanted to do. She says, "My family wasn't in approval of me dating a white guy. I said, okay, fuck you guys." The phlebotomist was a black guy, the guy who took her virginity. And then she says, "She's dated men of all races, but my family especially didn't like the white guy, just because he was white." Now, let's see, at the time, now this article is from April of 2008, and at that point in time, she stated that she really doesn't talk to her parents and she doesn't care what their opinion might be. So she was isolated from her family at that point in time in 2008. Who knows what's going on now? Okay. Now, when Vanessa moved to Nebraska, she continued exotic dancing at a club called Shakers, where she was the only black girl in the club. And she states that she made a ton of money. So she does well when she's the only one in an all-white environment. She doesn't like competition very much. Let's see. She made enough money to where she was able to get her first breast job. Didn't turn out well. She had to get them redone again. And about a year later, apparently, she broke up with James, and that's when Kitten re-entered the picture. Now, in 1999, she and Kitten went back to California, where she resumed her porn career. And at another period of her life, according to Adult FYI, she moved to Vegas, and that's where she encountered a lot of racism. She says, "I liked Vegas a lot. I danced at Cheetah's. It was probably the only club that would hire me." Now, Blue explains her comment to say that she and Kitten went around to a lot of clubs that wouldn't hire them. According to Blue, she's probably encountered some form of prejudice at every club she's ever worked at. She says, "Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's right in your face." When she and Kitten were hired, it was also explained why they wouldn't get a good shift. Blue says in this particular article, "At least I could say that was one thing that was cool about them. They were like, look, we give you guys better shifts, but you came in together. So, you know. They said it's a good thing we liked both of you, because if we didn't like one of you, we wouldn't hire either one of you. We let both of you walk right out the door. I'd wondered if that was happening at other clubs. Maybe they didn't like the look of one of us. I don't know. That's interesting to me because it shows a lot of low self-esteem within Vanessa Blue's character, at least at that point in time. Now let's say, in any event, Blue says that she thinks Vegas was cool. Although she didn't have a good nighttime shift, she worked middays. And this quote to me is a bit disturbing. She says, I guess I was one of the ooga boogas, one of the ugly girls that you'd fuck with the lights off. But I worked and it was good, although I've never been a greedy stripper. If I can make $200 a day, that's more than an average person gets, and I'm good with that. Now, from around the year 2000 to 2004, she dated adult industry porn star legend Lexington Steele, and in 2005 was engaged to him. Lexington Steele, now he's the owner of Mercenary Pictures. Apparently, when they first started dating, she didn't have any sort of financial stake in Mercenary Pictures, but she helped him out a lot. You know, she probably did a lot of directing. That's what she says in various interviews that I've read. She probably did a lot of camera. You know, who knows what else she did around the studio. But I'm sure that in her mindset, you know, they were dating, they were a team, they were together from 2000 to 2005. That's quite a while. You know, she was a part of the company. She helped to build the company. Now, also at the same point in time, at least toward the end of when they were dating, they got engaged in 2005, but toward 2005, Lexington Steele also brought on another female into his company by the name of Tina Tyler. Now, Tina Tyler, from what I could find, began directing for Mercenary in early 2005, and not only has worked on the straight side of porn, but the gay side of porn also. She directed for Black Viking, some sort of an all-male blowjob series. She's, from what I can see, a very open-minded woman who's very accepting of bisexuality and homosexuality, and actually finds watching gay porn something that she's really into. It seems to turn her on. Quoted here as saying, I love watching men be sexual, and I do not need to have a female representative in a scene that I'm watching. I can imagine myself sandwiched in between. Now, let's see. In another article, it says, Tyler said not only does she love watching gay porn, but, quote, gay men never give you a compliment they don't mean, end quote. Quoting Liza Minnelli, a noted gay icon, the author of this article, Seacrest, pointed out that gay men are very attracted to Tyler. Besides Minnelli's contention that you have to be really good at what you do, Tyler is also of the belief that in order to be a gay icon, you have to have a little drag queen in you. She says, I used to always say that I want to be so famous that drag queens would dress up as me. But as far as she knows, Tyler doesn't think anyone's dressed up to look like her for Halloween. She says, let me know. And lastly, and this is very interesting, she states, as far as performers she'd like to work with, Tyler quoted Lexington Steele, who once said on his K-Sex show, now K-Sex was like a TV and radio station for the adult entertainment industry, that girls haven't fulfilled their potential in the business if they haven't taken a men of a particular size. Quote, I realized that I've never had sex with Lexington Steele, she said. I haven't fulfilled my potential. Now, you know, this whole thing's kind of interesting to me because it just would have been very interesting to see the dichotomy between the two, Tina Tyler and Vanessa Blue, with Lexington Steele right in the middle, huh? Now, it looks like in 2005, that's where things went wrong. That's when Vanessa Blue and Lexington Steele broke off their engagement. Let's see, it says in February of 2006, Vanessa attempted to start an agency specifically for ethnic talents called X-Girl. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Let's see, in June of 2006, Vanessa parts ways officially from Mercenary Pictures. And then in 2007, some of the details, at least as Vanessa perceived them, as to why she and Lex broke up, began to spill out. At this time, Vanessa was seeing Michael Fattorosi, and during Primetime Uncensored, a show that was hosted by Michael Fattorosi, an article by Gene Ross states the following. Later in the show, Vanessa Blue offered some commentary from the sidelines. Blue was of the opinion that a lengthy relationship doesn't exactly guarantee you know the person that you're with, and she cited herself as an example. Blue, who's now seeing the show's host, Michael Fattorosi, was talking about a long-term relationship she had been in prior. Blue said the man that she had been going out with would primp in the mirror longer than she, which might have been bad enough, but he was also seeing another man on the down low. And while Blue had her suspicions, she had ignored some obvious clues, such as condoms found in the bedroom that would have been too small for her partner. All along, Blue kept thinking there was another woman involved, but she was wrong. Or was she? Quoting Vanessa Blue here. There were so many things I closed my eyes to. Then he asked me to marry him, to keep my mouth shut. End quote. Regarding her relationship with Fattorosi, Blue says she'll get the look from other brothers as though she was an Uncle Tom sellout. Huh. Interesting words. Uncle Tom. Very interesting words there. On many occasions, actually, I noticed on the Pornwikileaks project that somebody liked to refer to my father as an Uncle Tom. Very, very interesting. Anyway, to quote her, she says, meaning Vanessa Blue, "And I'll lose every time. I have a potty mouth, and that doesn't fare well against someone with a big vocabulary. This is a guy who can read a TV guide while I blow him. I'm insulted," referring to Lexington Steele. Now, this is very interesting because from what I could observe, Vanessa Blue actually did quite a bit for a lot of ethnic women in the industry, actually. She wound up getting Carmen Hayes, from what I could find, signed with LA Direct Models. She and Lexington promoted quite a few ethnic porn talents that many of you out there are probably very familiar with today. Now, this article is from June 6, 2007. It's entitled, "Vanessa Blue Outs Lexington Steele." A year ago, I spoke at length with Vanessa Blue regarding the sexuality of her ex-performer/director, Lexington Steele, under whom, not literally, not me at least, I directed the first gay movie, my first interracial for his otherwise straight video company, Mercenary Pictures. Constant readers will remember it wasn't pretty. After he screamed faggot into the phone and threatened to beat my ass, which now takes on an entirely different connotation, I pretty much decided my work there was done. But hey, the movie was nominated for a GayVN award. Blue had been of the opinion for quite some time that Steele was bisexual or even a full-on closeted homosexual, and her suspicions were confirmed for her one day when she caught him red-handed. A year ago, she was contemplating going public with the information to explain why she had broken up with him. She decided to keep quiet. Until last night, Blue said on her live primetime uncensored show that in her last relationship, her man had been seeing another man on the down low. The directrix said that she first became wary upon finding condoms in the bedroom that would have been too small to fit Steele. Blue said that despite other obvious signs, she was shocked upon finding him and his male companion asleep on top of each other. She also cited another instance in which she caught them in a hot tub. According to an AdultFYI.com recap, Blue claimed he would express angry views about homosexuals and bisexuals, as was witnessed with yours truly. But I wasn't the only one getting the brunt of Steele's wrath during the making of My First Interracial. Lex Parker, one of the stars of the movies, was wary about coming on set from the beginning, eventually fessing up to me that he had been intimate with Steele himself. I assured him that Steele would not be on set and rolled my eyes at the whole thing, assuming it was some tale Parker had concocted in his own head. That is until I was told by others that when Steele was reviewing the scene shot for My First Interracial, upon seeing Parker on screen, he reportedly flipped out violently and started asking who had cast that faggot in anger. After Blue came to me with her story, I knew Lex Parker had been telling the truth. There's more to the story, of course. There were other much more serious problems in the Blue-Steele relationship. There were also others that Steele had cheated on her with, including one relationship with a well-known female performer that had lasted several years. But none of that is mine to reveal. They will talk about it in their own time, as Blue has. I just wanted to confirm Blue's accusations. The girl needed a little backup. And her main guy will always have her back. Check it out. Ooh, okay. So, the question is, who was the female that Lexington Steele had been having an affair with? I couldn't find that. My money's on Tina Tyler. What I find odd about all this being that Donny Long knows Fattorosi, and Fattorosi's with Vanessa Blue, and Fattorosi has advised Donny Long on things having to do with the Pornwikileaks project, being that just about every male talent in the industry who's even been rumored as being a crossover has been named on that site. Why would it be that Lexington Steele not only hasn't been named on the Pornwikileaks project, but he's never had a wiki at all? Vanessa Blue hasn't had a wiki. Fattorosi hasn't had a wiki. Lexington Steele hasn't had a wiki. And for a while, I believe Mike South didn't have a wiki, but he's been instrumental in assisting in bringing some things to light. King Cross hasn't had a wiki. It's been rumored that Fattorosi has done some sort of a deal with some people to where he was able to magically get their wikis removed and their personal information removed from the website. But, with all the beef going on there between Vanessa Blue and Lexington Steele, you just would think that he would have had a wiki, but there could be a reason why he didn't. It is possible that when they sued each other at one point, from what I could find, they settled out of court. They both may have come to an agreement not to ever talk about certain things that transpired between them. Let's see. It looks like around November of 2008, that's when they sued each other. Ironically, Fattorosi was Vanessa's attorney in the matter. And let's see, it says that Steele claims that Blue appropriated copyrights illegally for various volumes from Mercenary, such as Black Rain, Super Whores. Super Whores is the series that Tina Tyler directed. Ebony, and also Climax TV. Steele also claims that Blue, who was an employee of the company and directed for them under the name Dominia X, provided mercenary scenes on VanessaBlue.com and earned membership fees over the video on demand clips. That's interesting. Let's see. Now, Blue filed a separate complaint alleging copyright infringement and breach of implied contract, among other charges against Steele. And what's another interesting thing I found is that Mercenary had some sort of a contract or deal that they entered into with a company called HVL Cyberweb Solutions, which is based out of Canada. And that's interesting because that's where Tina Tyler's from. She's Canadian. So it looks like that's something that Vanessa Blue also tried to sue Lexington Steele for. Let's see, it says Blue claims that Steele fraudulently filed for certificates of registration over the titles, and that Steele's company agreed to pay her 75% of the gross revenue generated from Lex Steele. That promise, Blue contended, was made if she relocated her residence from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, which she eventually did. Blue claims Steele and his company to date have made at least one payment but breached this contract starting in June of 2006. Blue asked for compensatory damages and enhanced damages over the alleged copyright infringement. So basically what's going on here is that Vanessa Blue decided to take a lot of that footage that was shot by Mercenary Pictures and sell it through her own website and rack in a whole lot of membership fees. Now, it could be that Lexington Steele's lack of a wiki might have to do with both parties agreeing after that legal tiff not to revisit or talk about the situation again. But it could also mean that some of those allegations that Vanessa Blue made against Lexington Steele might not have been truthful. You know, I wasn't really able to find anywhere online where he denied those allegations. Now, if somebody out there finds where he denied them, let me know. But being that there was no wiki and being that Fattorosi was involved, seems to me that they're afraid of Lexington Steele and they didn't want to ruffle his feathers, even though apparently both Fattorosi and Vanessa Blue still have a lot of hate and animosity towards some qualities that they view Lexington Steele as possessing. Now, a little bit earlier to the lawsuit that Vanessa and Fattorosi filed against Mercenary Pictures, another known porn staple who has been named and gossiped about at length on the PWL project, ChristianXXX. Now, he apparently had some issues with Vanessa Blue and Fattorosi and ruffled both their feathers a bit. Now, a little bit about ChristianXXX. He's known to be outspoken and very opinionated in the adult entertainment world. He's also a rather controversial figure, being that he is an open crossover talent, meaning that he works on both the gay side of porn and the straight side of porn, and he has no shame to his game. You know, he's been majorly attacked on the PWL project, but this isn't the first time that he's been attacked. Now, unfortunately, I think that he has been the whipping boy for Vanessa Blue's hostility and animosity that she's had toward Lexington Steele. I think that she's been projecting a lot of her anger upon Christian, and in my view, a lot of the porn industry via that Pornwikileaks project. Let's see, what do we have here? Apparently in late January of 2007, as reported by Adult FYI, Christian got into it with PornLaw and called him an ambulance chaser. Let's see. He stated, "Stick to using your lawyer shtick to try to fuck porn chicks, bro. Tiffany, Vanessa Blue, Emily Evermore, who am I missing? Our industry's first suitcase lawyer. Good times." And you can read that on the link that I've posted here. Let's see. I think that Christian has been giving Donny Long too much credit. I don't think that it's been Donny Long that has been attacking Christian anonymously so much. I think it's been Fattorosi. Let's see, apparently Vanessa had some issues working with Christian in an article posted on Adult FYI, March 18th of 2006. She said, "But that's where I draw the line. I didn't know there was a line. There was this one guy named Christian. He kept begging me to shoot with him on my FemDomX site because I fuck guys up the ass. But then I get booked in a scene and I show up and it's the guy I kept saying no to." Now apparently, let's see, it looks like Wankus, she was talking to Wankus, who used to work at K-Sex, and Wankus says that he thought Christian was a nice guy. Then she says, "But that doesn't mean I want your dick in my ass." Blue laughed. "You've been begging me to stick mine in yours. That's some fucked up shit. And then I gotta suck it. That's bullshit." And then Winkus says that what he liked about Christian is the fact that he doesn't hide from it and he doesn't deny liking being fucked up the ass. He's proud of it. What's ironic about this is that on Christian's blog, Christian actually states that Vanessa is somebody that was one of his favorite porn stars and that he enjoyed working with. I'm not sure if they ever did work together or not, but what's interesting about that, and I'll put the link to where he writes this, it makes me wonder if Fattorosi had been feeding some of his beliefs and mindset into Vanessa. Now it looks like in July of 2008 on Christian's blog he mentions that his girlfriend at the time, Phoenix Marie, went on the Playboy radio show where I guess at the time Vanessa Blue was a host, and he mentioned that he would love to have gone on the show and talk to Vanessa and have them interview him, but apparently they didn't invite him on. And he even notes that when he has seen Vanessa around, that she avoids him, even though she repeatedly brings him up on the air, according to him, every week when she's live on the radio show. All right, now it looks like in 2007, Christian found out that several anonymous people, including Vanessa Blue and Michael Fattorosi, were attacking him on XXX Porn Talk. Now, to me, that sets a pattern. I mean, if Fattorosi had been attacking Christian on XXX Porn Talk in 2007, it makes me wonder if it was really Donny Long who came up with the idea of creating the website ChristianMichaelWyans.com, which was a forum specifically to attack Christian, because it just looks to me like Fattorosi really has some serious beef with Christian, and I'm under the belief that it could be because he's afraid that Christian could possibly take Vanessa Blue away from him. Wouldn't be a bad match. Just saying. So hopefully now you can see that though Donny Long has obvious involvement with the Pornwikileaks project and reportedly owns the site, well, actually it's known that he owns the site now, that Fattorosi's involvement is much more than just simple advice on skirting along the edges of the law in regards to the wikis. I do believe that there's motive here which stems from Vanessa Blue's time within the industry. Now, let me bring you all up to the present now in regards to the racism on the PWL site, because though there is a lot of racism on that site, I think it might be a front or a mask for other agendas at play, because truthfully, from what I've observed, I'm really the only African American performer, and I'm not even a performer now. I haven't been a performer since 2009 as far as hardcore scenes are concerned. I've been the only one who's really been attacked. Myself, my family members. You do see a lot of racial language, but I haven't seen really any other black performers attacked to the extent of which I've been attacked. And I believe that the reason that I have been attacked as much as I have is because I'm a threat to Vanessa Blue. I think that everyone who's been extensively attacked on that site has either been a threat to Vanessa Blue or a threat to Michael Fattorosi. And let's go down the list here. Now, Christian has been very verbal about disliking Fattorosi. And Fattorosi seems to be somebody who is used to being able to intimidate performers, and Christian ain't having that. Not at all. Another performer who has been extensively attacked has been Mercedes Ashley. Mercedes Ashley and Vanessa Blue are actually quite a lot alike. They both are very prominent in the urban porn markets. They both have networks of websites. Then you have Nina Mercedes, another woman who, I won't restrict her only to the urban porn market, but she's another one who's very tech savvy, who has a network of websites. You have Mariah Milano, exact same qualities, very tech savvy, a network of websites. Seems to me that it was not Donny Long who picked these particular people to have the top wikis. I think it was Vanessa Blue, because she doesn't like competition. Now, I also decided to cross-reference who Lexington Steele has worked with over the past year, and to see what was going on with their wiki pages on PWL. And here's what I found. I found that quite a few of the women that he recently worked with They might not have had wikis as extensive as Mercedes Ashley's or Nina Mercedes or mine or Christian's, but there definitely was some effort put into them. Let's see, Haley Cummings, not much info, but somebody made a point to post a rather bad photo of her. Same with, let's see, there was some info on Alana Ray. She's recently worked with Lexington Steele a bit. And Trina Michaels. And there's some others too. I'll link it all up on monicaathome.com. I want to thank everybody for watching and for getting my perspective on this. And I do want to thank everyone who's assisted me in accumulating some of this data and drawing my own conclusions. So once again, thank you for viewing this broadcast of Monica at Home. And if you want to see more of me, you can always visit monicaF.com or gettingintoporn.com or monicaathome.com. Good night.